All right, what is going on, Notre Dame football fans? I'm Tyler Horka here at Carter Finley Stadium in Raleigh, North Carolina, where the Notre Dame Fighting Irish just took down the NC State Wolfpack 45-24 in the Irish's first road game of the season. Unlike last time when I was in Ireland, I do have some final stats for y'all, so let's rattle some off here right now. Notre Dame outgains NC State 456 yards to 344. NC State had a garbage time type of touchdown in the fourth quarter there with probably a couple minutes left, and a lot of the yards actually came on that. So it was looking even better than that for Notre Dame in terms of yards disparity, but it was a pretty tight contest to start. Obviously, you have a 105-minute rain delay. It was really a lightning delay. The skies have cleared a little bit behind me, as you can see, but man, during the first couple hours of this football game, menacing conditions out here, nonstop rain, nonstop lightning. Notre Dame players actually went into the tunnel that I'm standing right next to right here, and they were in there for over an hour and a half eating hot dogs. Notre Dame head coach Marcus Freeman confirmed. You might have heard on the broadcast from ESPN's Molly McGrath that Notre Dame was eating hot dogs. Yes, they were. Audric Estime told me after the game he only had one hot dog, and that led to an 80-yard touchdown for Estime on the very first play following that lengthy delay. So 3-0 Notre Dame early in the fourth quarter of that, or in the second quarter, when that delay started. Estime comes out, first play from scrimmage after the delay, 80-yard touchdown on a little run to the right. He cut it back left. Good blocking. He said after the game that it was definitely a testament to all 11 on the field for Notre Dame to score that touchdown. It was really an effort for Notre Dame, all 11 for Notre Dame throughout the afternoon, because NC State kept coming back. I remember sitting in the press box, which you see right behind me there, and talking to some other members of the media, and I was just saying, man, this thing either feels like it's one touchdown for Notre Dame away from the death punch, so to speak, because Notre Dame was up in this one, but it was close for a lot of the game, or NC State makes a couple of plays and makes it a ball game. I think there in the third quarter, it might have been, Notre Dame is only leading 24-17, I want to say. Sam Hartman, who's had turnover issues against NC State his entire career, puts the ball on the ground, fumbles the football. NC State recovers in plus territory. I want to say it was the 33-yard line. And they end up missing a field goal. So the Notre Dame defense rises up, stands tall, forces a field goal attempt, and then the field goal attempt was missed. That felt like a missed opportunity for NC State, a dodged bullet if you're Notre Dame. Of course, again, it was only 24-17 at that time. And then the interception parade started to occur for Notre Dame. Xavier Watts gets an interception. Notre Dame scores a touchdown off of that. DJ Brown gets an interception. Notre Dame scores a touchdown off of that. All of a sudden, Fighting Irish 38, NC State 17. It felt like it was over at that point, and then Sam Hartman connected with Holden Stays on a lengthy touchdown. Stays' second touchdown of the game. It was a little bit of a coming out party for him. He led Notre Dame with 4 catches, 115 yards, and those 2 touchdowns. Jaden Greathouse, 3 catches, only 15 yards, but one of those did go for a touchdown right before the half. That was a huge sequence as well, where NC State, I think, goes in and scores its first touchdown of the game, aided by penalties a little bit there. There were definitely some questionable penalty calls on NC State's first touchdown drive of the game. Set it up in the end zone right behind me here, and then they pulled it within 10-7. But just as you saw from Marcus Freeman at the end of the Tennessee State first half, timeout, let's get this ball back to Sam Hartman and the Notre Dame offense. Even though the Notre Dame offense wasn't clicking at that point, you have to give credit to NC State's defense, swarming to the football, all over Hartman, all over his pass catchers, really all over this Notre Dame offense in general. And then it's still timeout for Notre Dame. And what happens? Sam Hartman leads a touchdown drive in the last minute of the first half. Touchdown pass to Jaden Greathouse. It was really I want to say it was a 60-yarder, maybe even a 65-yarder. Again, I don't have that number in front of me. 65 yards, I do have that number in front of me, to Chris Tyree, where Hartman kind of sucked the NC State defense in a little bit. He was moving out to his right. multiple NC State defenders coming at him, and then Chris Tyree kind of just leaked out into an open area along the sideline. Sam Hartman found him. Turnaround for Tyree, off to the races. He takes Notre Dame inside the red zone for what I believe was the first time all day to that point. And then, because the only other time Notre Dame scored before that was the Audric Estime 80-yard touchdown. So it was the first time Notre Dame offense actually set up in the red zone. Hartman got the job done with the connection to Jaden Greathouse. 17-7 Notre Dame at halftime. And then I already kind of took you through the second half. The interceptions were huge. Benjamin Morrison also had his first interception of the season, 7th of his career. Notre Dame didn't score any points off of that, but it was just another marquee Morrison play where he's trailing a wide receiver down the sideline, kind of mirroring him. And then, at the end of the play, he's really on him like glue. He ends up looking more like the wide receiver on the play, gives the ball back to the Notre Dame offense. Notre Dame did give up, if I have these numbers in front of me, I do not believe I have the sack numbers in front of me, but it was a handful of sacks. The Hartman fumble came on a sack. So NC State's defense, again, it was swarming. It got after the Fighting Irish, and that's why you saw that low score in the first quarter. That wasn't a weather-affected low score in the first quarter, and really the weather didn't affect this game at all, except for maybe some sloppy field conditions in the second half. But really, it was NC State's defense just swarming, getting after Notre Dame, getting after Hartman. The Notre Dame offensive line, I think you come away from this one thinking it didn't really play its best. But the Notre Dame front seven defensively, on the other hand, this is a quarterback in Brennan Armstrong for NC State who ran for 96 yards against UConn. Today, I think he was ultimately sacked for the first time in the late in the fourth quarter, so sacks didn't really have much to do with this. Armstrong credited with 12 rushing attempts, 37 yards. He did score on the ground on one of those rushing attempts, but that is a far cry away from 96 yards. So Marcus Freeman credited that to the Notre Dame defense, really stepping up and filling run gaps nicely, and even disguising some run gaps. Sometimes it looked like Brennan Armstrong thought he had this lane to run in, and all of a sudden a Notre Dame defender was there to close and crash and kind of swallow him up. So that was a big talking point coming into this game, was can Notre Dame keep Brennan Armstrong contained in the running game? They did. In the passing game, he ends up, 22 of 47, so less than 50% for 260 yards, 2 touchdowns, and those 3 interceptions that I mentioned. Sam Hartman comes out of this having a banner day, really a Heisman Trophy caliber day. It was tough for him in the early going, and you credit that to the NC State defense, a little bit to the Notre Dame offensive line slipping up. And the Notre Dame rushing game, outside of Audric Estime's long run there, struggled to get going in the early going as well. But Hartman still ends up 15 for 24 for 286 yards and 4 touchdowns. The Heisman campaign in South Bend continues. Marcus Freeman spoke highly of Sam Hartman in the post-game press conference. Audric Estime spoke highly of Marcus Freeman in the post-game press conference. And now I'll just speak highly of Notre Dame in general to close this thing out, because you have a team, again, that was on the road for the first time this season. A little bit of a wacky season with the start in Ireland. Then you return home to face an FCS program for the first time in Notre Dame history. Then you got to go on the road and play a team that's been a nemesis for Sam Hartman for as long as he was at Wake Forest. Dave Doran's a really good head coach. Tony Gibson's a really good defensive coordinator. NC State has Brennan Armstrong. It has Robert Anae as its offensive coordinator. And Notre Dame still wins this thing by 3 touchdowns. So for everyone that went into this asking, is Notre Dame for real? Are those 2 wins in the first 2 games of the season a little bit of fool's gold? I think they answered that question. And as Marcus Freeman said in the post-game press conference, it was a matter of answering the bell, not just answering the outside questions and is Notre Dame for real and all that. But when pressure arose in this game, and like I said, when NC State had the ball in Notre Dame territory and could have tied this thing up at 24-24, what do the Fighting Irish do in that instance? And they respond and score the next 3 touchdowns of this game, really put this thing away when it was 45-17. Again, NC State scored the last touchdown in garbage time. So you got a good effort from Hartman, from Estime. Defensively, 3 turnovers forced, all interceptions. Made Brennan Armstrong look pedestrian. And the end result is Notre Dame has a 3-0 record going into a home game against Central Michigan. Heavy favorite in that game. Notre Dame should take care of the Chippewas. And then you're hosting College Game Day 1, most likely, and 2, the Ohio State Buckeyes, September 23rd at Notre Dame Stadium. So the questions, is Notre Dame for real? For now, absolutely. The Fighting Irish are 3-0. And we will see you guys early next week with Hey Horka on Monday, the Blue and Gold football show, Notre Dame football show on Wednesday with Mike Singer. Some videos in between those as well. But next post-game press conference, again, will be after Notre Dame and Central Michigan on September 16th. So I will see you guys then. And go to blueandgold.com for all of your recap on this game. We will have tons and tons of articles Saturday evening, Sunday morning, and even into Monday.